Hi, and welcome to the SaVeg podcast.
I'm Rose, also known as Cheap Lazy Vegan on YouTube.
And I'm Daniel, one of your favorite guest stars on Cheap Lazy Vegan's YouTube channel.
We're two friends who love to talk about the latest trending topics.
So get comfortable and join us while we give our SaVeg take on just about everything. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the SaVeg podcast.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hopefully, everyone is having an amazing week, and
it's the start of the week, kind of.
Oh yeah, true. It is.
So hopefully, you've had a good start to the week.
Yeah, maybe a good weekend. You went out there, you socially distanced, you enjoyed the outdoors wherever you may be. Or
oh God,
yeah,
what's happening in this world?
I know, it's pretty crazy. I actually have a big fear of, not a fear, but
what's your fear?
I was thinking about winter here.
Oh God damn.
Because lately, everything that I've been doing has been involved like some form of being outside, right?
Yes.
So like even when I meet up with friends, I go to like a patio or we're in a park and you know, when it's minus 30, what we gonna do?
I don't know.
Like,
see, I'm afraid of they're saying that we're in a second wave.
I know.
Is that true?
Well, I haven't seen it so much in Canada, but I was like looking at stats in some other countries. So one of them I was looking at was the UK and Spain as well, two countries I previously lived in. And their like graph of like new cases,
right? You
see the original spike go up in like March, April time, then it drops, and then over the summer, like June, July, it's like super like light. And then the last couple months, it's like gone off the charts. And for both of those countries, right now, it's even more than at the beginning of the pandemic.
Shut up.
Yeah, like it's pretty crazy.
But then the death rate has gone down.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Right? Well, I feel like the death rate has gone down because number one, there's more young people getting it now. Yeah. Right? Because like older people have been a lot more careful during this entire time.
Yeah. And
also, didn't we say that it's just because the virus kind of mutates and it becomes less deadly?
Well, there was articles, there was somebody was saying, like a doctor or somebody was saying about how as this disease or this virus, is mutating, it is becoming less potent, I guess.
Yeah.
And less life-threatening. I'm not saying that it's not still life-threatening to some people. But I think, and you're right, I think a lot of the people now that are getting it is a lot of younger people.
Yeah.
And I don't think the concern is so much the younger people getting it, is just passing it on to older people,
exactly.
right? So,
oh God.
Yeah.
And we still don't know the long-term implications.
Exactly.
So even if you are young, it could potentially have a lifelong, impact on your body.
It's just crazy.
It's scary.
It's like the invisible enemy,
God.
Like it.
But some people don't be taking it seriously. Like the people at we saw the protest in our city
today. Actually,
today,
both of us separately.
It was a very confusing protest.
It was, yeah. I didn't really understand what was going on, but Rose and I were both out for walks this afternoon. Separately, yeah. And in the middle of like my walk, I was walking down the bike path along the river, and there was this bridge, and I just saw like hundreds of people.
It was not hundreds.
It was a lot of people.
Really?
Yeah, where I was, there was. All crossing the bridge together. And I said to my friend that I was going on the walk with, I was like, can we go downtown, like just to avoid this like mass of people? And as we were veering off, we saw like one of their signs. And again, I don't really know what the protest is about, but it was like saying about, if you've forsaken God, you've forsaken life. I don't know.
Yeah, some of the signs were religious and some of the signs were about, COVID, and a lot of them said freedom. I'm like, oh my God.
So there was a lot of that going on. So
we don't know what's going to happen. Like I'm also concerned for the winter when it gets colder because, in the summer, it's been so nice. We can go outside, we can go hiking, we can do outdoor activities, and we can socialize even if we're not inside. Yeah. But then in the winter, like Canadian winters get really fucking cold.
Exactly.
So how are we going to socialize? And then everyone's going to be inside, and that means, the air is circulating indoors.
Damn.
So more of a chance of potentially catching the vid.
Oh, God damn. It'd be a situation. And this is the thing that's going to be so hard. Like, and I know it's like we're like complaining about socializing and stuff, but it's a really important part of life, I think. And also, like, naturally, we're not like solitary creatures, right? Like, we're not animals that thrive being solitary. We're very social. And I think the winter, it does freak me out because I know there's some outdoor activities that you can do, but again, only during certain times of the winter. Like when it's minus 30, like really you can't be outside for that long.
Yeah.
Because you'll get potential for frostbite within like minutes or something.
Do we
ridiculous.
need to learn how to snowboard? You know how to snowboard.
Oh, well, I haven't snowboarded for so long.
Really?
So,
when's the last time you snowboarded?
like 10 or 15 years ago.
Oh Lord. Well, I've never snowboarded, which a lot of people think it's such a shame because, you know, we live really close to the mountains and people actually travel here to go snowboarding in the Rockies. And I've never done it.
How about, can I please, when you start, can I be there to witness?
Rude. I would be so bad at it.
Do you think so?
Yes.
Yeah. It's
I would fall every single 2 seconds.
But you could start slow and do like the bunny hills and
I mean, I would probably just stay at the bunny hill.
Yeah.
Is that like for the little kids?
Yeah. Well, no, it's like for people learning basically.
I feel like my concern is that I'm not like 15. So, you know, if I fall, it's going to take longer to heal.
Rose, you're not that old, okay? It's not like you're going to break a hip.
Okay,
and
my cells are not regenerating as quickly, you know.
God, I know. It's like a downhill slope now, Rose.
Oh my God, stop. No. You know what? I've decided to be positive about getting older.
You're going to be positive?
Yes.
I need to take, good thing we're videoing this. I can take a clip of this later and send it to Rose.
Well, you know, I decided that I've always been like Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Didn't want to get old. And I still don't. It's not like I enjoy, you know, the idea of like getting old.
Yeah.
But I've decided to have a positive mindset because if you think about it, when people die young, it's a tragedy, right? Yeah. So obviously the reason why it's a tragedy is because they didn't get to experience the whole, aging and the process and, you know, and they didn't get to do everything that they wanted to do, you know, during their time.
Exactly.
So if we get older, that means we're still able to experience things and enjoy life.
Plus, I think the way that I look at it, like I also like in some ways I'm like Peter Pan as well because like I like to go out. I like to do things.
You're still a child.
Oh God dang! I'm living in my parents' basement. I'm taking my learner's test again. I'm 14. Like seriously.
Oh my God, you've gone back in time. You've successfully gone back in time.
Yes, my goal achieved. No, but the way that I look at aging, and like this could be completely like off, but like I look at it as like every age, like it does scare me a little bit getting older and stuff, but at the same time, like I think every age has its pros and cons. Like as you get into different age categories and age brackets or whatever, it like brings its own unique set of interesting things. So
yes, so we shall embrace getting older. We shall age gracefully.
Try to.
Try to.
I mean, you'll age gracefully. I won't. So
no, you look good, Daniel. God damn, why you be putting yourself down? Don't be doing that.
I won't. You're so nice. You've been nice to me today. I love
nice on camera.
Wait till the camera goes off. Just kidding.
All right, folks. So that was our weird intro. What do we just? Anyway, maybe one day I'll take up snowboarding.
Yep. You know what else is really really fun? Is which I've done recently, not recently, but let's give it a couple of years, but snowshoeing.
I went snowshoeing maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe I have to go to like a certain place, but it was just walking in the snow.
Yeah, it's like hiking, but like you can do it in the snow.
Right. But you don't actually go up, do you?
I did.
Yeah? Really up?
Not like super up, but like up.
Like how up? Like hiking up?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, pretty much. I remember when I went, I was like, we went.
When did you go?
Like I went like 5 years ago.
And you went hiking?
Yeah.
And you saw a view from up top?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean.
So maybe I shouldn't have hiked that trail. I don't know. Maybe that's dangerous. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I don't actually know. I mean, all I did was just kind of walk on flat ground.
Yeah. Well, that's not going to be that interesting, is it?
Yeah, it's not that interesting. No. That's why I was like, why do people do this? But I mean, I understand if you're like in the mountains, it could be nice.
We did like a nice trail like up, and it wasn't like we went really high up a mountain. It wasn't like that, but we did get a decent view from where we were. So
okay. Shall we
nice.
Shall we go snowshoeing?
I'm down.
Okay.
I'm very down.
Well, you be in my cohort.
Yeah, that's true. So we can also get a little cabin, get a fire.
Yes. It'll be nice.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay. So guys, we have a few stories that we want to discuss today.
Yep.
And Daniel, of course, kindly did the research.
Well, not really great research today, to be honest. But so the main stories that we're going to talk about, and obviously, as you guys know, we like to digress and, whatever. So the first one is a little bit of old news because I think this happened a couple of weeks ago. But basically, there was a story about some YouTubers, some really famous ones like Mr. Beast, Jeffree Star, and then the separate, I think FaZe Clan is actually a company, not a YouTube
I think YouTuber. It's owned by someone named FaZe Banks, but I could just be making this up.
Yeah. So basically all of these individuals also own companies as well, and a lot of the companies, there was something that was going on in the US where they did like business relief kind of thing. We'll go into more detail in a minute, but anyway, they all got it, and there's a little bit of controversy around that if they should have got it or not. The other story that we're going to talk about is there was a recent is it like a would it be a biopic or like a docu-series? Well, it's not quite a series, but
I thought it was a series.
No, it's just one episode.
Oh, it's just one movie.
Yeah. So there's a movie that Paris Hilton actually released recently
on YouTube Premium.
On YouTube.
I think.
No, I watched it on I don't know.
Oh, you watched it?
Yeah.
When did you watch it?
The other night.
Oh. Yeah. Did you actually?
I did. I honestly watched it.
I thought it was on Premium.
No, it isn't. I mean, I had ads and stuff in it. So
interesting.
But yeah, no, I watched it, and it's all about basically the reality of who Paris is and what's happened to her. And actually, it was quite shocking. So there's some stuff to talk about.
Dig into that.
Mm-hmm. And then the final story we're going to talk about is. And this has been going on for a little while, so this isn't news to anyone, but like we're going to talk a little bit about Kanye West.
Oh, shit.
His recent stuff, his recent his recent outrage or whatever on Twitter. God. And then also some issues with him and Kim.
Oh Lord. Yeah. Why are we such a gossip podcast today?
Because we be a little bit gossipy. Well,
are we gossipy?
A little bit. So
all right. So shall we start talking about the Jeffree Star and the Mr. Beast and the FaZe Clan?
So, but some of the listeners might not know who these people are. So
okay, so these are, well, I don't know what FaZe Clan is. Mm-hmm. My guess is that it's a company owned by a YouTuber. Mm-hmm. But Mr. Beast and Jeffree Star are huge YouTube creators. Yeah. Mr. Beast I think has like millions of subscribers. Jeffree Star I know has millions of subscribers, and they're very, very, very they're very big on YouTube.
And also another reason why there was some backlash about them getting these loans from the government is that both of these, and I don't know, again, this is something that's like a little bit controversial, but both of these, especially Jeffree Star and Mr. Beast, their platforms are built on this like lifestyle luxury kind of brand.
Right.
And so they're always like excess, everything that they do. I mean, they're both like multi-millionaires. Yep. So there's some issues there. So basically what happened was the US government, and I don't know so much about this, but they issued for kind of like small to medium-sized businesses in a sense to kind of help the businesses, but also to protect some of the employees that work at the business.
Yes.
They did this program they call the PPP, which is the Paycheck Protection Program. And yeah, basically these YouTubers like Jeffree Star Cosmetics and Mr. Beast YouTube LLC, I guess is his company's name. They both applied and successfully got loans as part of this program.
Yeah.
Now that's basically, what was I going to say?
I mean, it's I don't understand how they could have gotten this approved.
Yeah.
Because everything they do, first of all, is online. I don't suspect that they've had much of a decline in their revenue over the last few months especially compared to other actual physical businesses like restaurants.
Exactly.
So the fact that they even applied for it is like really icky, especially, you're right, because they have built their kind of wealth based on luxury and, buying all this stuff and being fancy, being bougie. Like Jeffree Star has literally like a man, like he lives in a fucking castle,
like a crazy ass mansion,
and has probably millions and millions of dollars worth of like luxury items.
Exactly.
And buys, expensive bags every week, basically. So, and I know he makes tons of money through his cosmetics line.
He does. He makes so much. They said that the cosmetics line is like estimated to be worth like 100 or 150 million, I think. And then his YouTube earnings were reported. I mean, obviously they don't know for sure. Yeah. But the YouTube earnings were reported to be like 18 to 20 million or something for the year.
And that's just YouTube.
And that's just his YouTube. That's not even his ad deals, his endorsements, his whatever else. So I think that the issue here is, yes, maybe these companies, obviously they probably have a team and everything else, but the impact here, I feel like the purpose of these loans is more for, like you said, like kind of like, businesses that are actually struggling. And these businesses that are online, like YouTube and stuff, like
they're not struggling. There's no way that they are struggling.
If anything, they're actually doing probably better.
Exactly.
Because more people are at home watching the YouTube channels. Yeah. And I think part of the reason why people would get so angry is, again, you see like Jeffree Star buying ridiculously expensive stuff, and yet he's applying for a loan to support his business, whereby it's like, well, you're the owner of the business. I don't know, what's the onus of the owner to kind of help support some of that?
This is crazy. Does the government not vet these loans? Because it says, according to the database, Jeffree Star Cosmetics was approved for a loan ranging from $350,000 to $1 million.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Beast also was approved for a loan in the same range.
Yeah.
And Mr. Beast also, I don't watch his videos, but he's known for like really crazy stunts. Like he'll give out like $100,000 or he'll buy like an entire store or something crazy. So again, based on like excess and buying and, you know, basically him, you know, showing the world that he has a lot of fucking money.
Exactly.
It's like.
But yeah, so like I think that's a big part of the backlash is the fact that, there's actual companies that are really, really, really struggling. Yeah. And, you know, you have these people getting these loans and actually some businesses aren't getting them.
That's crazy.
Because there's more about some other companies as well, which were kind of owned by wealthy celebrities. Khloe Kardashian, Kanye West, Reese Witherspoon.
Oh my, are you serious?
Have also drawn a little bit of heat from receiving PPP aid.
It's like they're taking advantage of the system. They probably did it thinking that no one would find out.
Yeah.
Right?
They were probably like,
we could probably, you know, get away with this somehow because there's maybe like a loophole or something. And then they're like, oh, why don't we just do it since we might as well just get money from the government.
Exactly. And I just think there's just something so wrong with
when they're so rich.
I know, they're literally so well
fucking rich.
This is the thing, we're not talking about your everyday kind of people, because then this wouldn't be a story.
Exactly.
Right? Because everyday people actually need these help and actually need the support of the government during this time.
And even if it was someone that like maybe not necessarily suffered that much, but was like, you know, like still, you know, maybe a medium-sized, you know, small company. Yeah. And they like maybe slightly took advantage of it, I might just let it slide. But when you're this fucking rich, are you kidding me?
I know. It's like, come on. And especially when the loans that they're asking for. So like, let's say the loans are like $350,000 to $1 million. I'm sorry, but all of these people that we're talking about, they could afford to loan their business $1 million out of their pocket and then get it back in revenue or whatever else. Why are you borrowing the government's money?
It's crazy.
Because it's not for people that don't need that. It's not for people that don't need it. Like, but some of the issue, which people, I think is rightfully so, is a lot of people are like, well, what is going on with this PPP? Like, why is
who is doing this?
Exactly. Why is the U.S. government not vetting? Because apparently, like, it wasn't just about these celebrities and stuff. Like, there was a bit more saying about how a lot of these businesses that applied, like small mom and pop businesses, haven't been able to get this funding. And also they were saying a big part of this funding is to secure, because it's called like, what was it exactly called again? It was like
PPP?
Paycheck Protection Program. Paycheck Protection Program. Another key to this, the reason the government was doing this, which it had good intentions, was like, if you owned a business, part of the reason the government's giving you that money is so you don't have to lay anyone off. Yeah. Because they want to protect the people that have the jobs. And yet I believe they were saying like barely any of these businesses have been able to show that, you know, they haven't had to lay people off, or they've used that funding to keep their staff on. So a lot of people are arguing like, what is the government doing about this? Like, there needs to be better checks and balances in place.
Yeah, this is crazy.
I know.
Especially considering the fact that not just with businesses, but people are suffering and they don't have money. A lot of people got laid off. A lot of people lost their jobs, and they still have not gotten a second stimulus check. Like, the only thing that they've received from the government was $1,200 one-time $1,200 check.
This is crazy.
Whereas compared to Canada, we've had like 6 months of CERB, which is $2,000 a month for people that lost their jobs because of COVID. Yeah, and yeah, so it's just crazy to think that they're giving Jeffree Star fucking Cosmetics like $300,000 or even $1 million. Exactly. When they can't even give, you know, regular citizens a little bit of money.
I know, it's just so wrong. And again, it's like, oh my God. It makes me like, you know what it makes me think of? Like, I think we did briefly talk about this in another podcast, but I watched this documentary recently about capitalism and stuff. And again, it's like, I feel like I get where the government's coming from, where they're like, they want to do this PPP to support small businesses, but that's not what's happening in reality right now. And it's these large corporations. There was like saying like a lot of large companies that probably shouldn't have qualified for this are getting these loans. Yeah. So I'm just like, this is defeating the purpose of this whole program.
Yeah.
And again, you have these big corporations and like Jeffree Star Cosmetics and all these other ones that are taking advantage of government programs that are actually meant for people that like, you know, the couple that owns the little Vietnamese restaurant around the corner, or like whatever, like people that are actually really financially impacted. Because at the end of the day, it's like, oh, I could go, I just, it frustrates me beyond belief, because I'm just like, you know, these are people that don't need the assistance.
They're not even close to needing it.
I know. Like they could, most of them could retire and still be fine.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Their company could shut down and they would be 100%, 1000% fine.
Exactly. So it's just like,
I know.
It makes me angry, and it's just like, it makes me frustrated for those small companies in the US that are really, really struggling. And like you said, the people that, you know, aren't being supported properly by the government and are out of like, like, imagine we were in that situation. What do you do when you're out of work? You have rent or mortgage to pay. Imagine we have kids, everything.
Oh my God, seriously.
Like, what do you do? Like, you just, I honestly, like,
people get, kicked out, they become homeless.
Well, this is it.
Yeah.
Imagine, you know, your whole life you've been working so hard.
Oh,
you
God.
have a family, you have two beautiful little children.
Oh, God.
And you're getting evicted, no support from the government, and you're fucked.
I know.
Like, it's so sad.
It's
like,
so sad.
Oh, and it just
I know. What are people doing? God, it's so crazy.
It really, like, it upsets me. It
really does. But yeah, so that's what's happening in the US.
Like, God damn.
How is this happening? I don't understand.
It's just bad. It's just
like, is it corruption? Like, I don't understand.
But I think, and people are rightfully saying like about how, okay, well, first of all, these businesses shouldn't have applied for these loans.
Yeah, I mean, that's first things first. Second of all, who's working at the government?
Well, exactly. Why has there no regulation or things in place or like a process in place to say like a qualification process of who gets the loans?
Like
and who doesn't?
you've had like a certain amount decline in revenue, or you know, like there needs to be something,
some metric.
Yeah, some metric. And I'm sorry, but I don't believe that these companies that we've listed have had much of a decline in revenue.
No. And
even if they have, they were already making so much money to begin with.
And this is the thing. And this is the thing that gets me is like a lot of these businesses, and not just these particular ones owned by celebrities. Yeah. I'm talking about businesses in general. Like obviously not all businesses are owned by wealthy people, right? Like some are, you know, your mom and pops or whatever else. But there are a lot of businesses that are owned by supremely wealthy people. So my question is, if these people have so much wealth, why could they not give their business that's struggling a temporary loan?
Because Daniel,
instead of borrowing from the government.
I mean, yes, that's the ethical way to do it. But
exactly.
We can't expect people to act ethically.
I know this is
because corporation is a separate entity.
I know this is true.
Yes.
So if you're a corporation, if you're incorporated,
it doesn't matter how much money you have, as an individual have.
Yes, because then if your company goes bankrupt or whatever else, they can't come after your assets.
Exactly.
So you could pull as much as you want out of the company, and you're like, see ya.
Yeah. I know.
Okay, I could go on a rant about that for
so
like
that's that. So that's fucked up. While other people are getting, you know, evicted and, you know, not having health care and not getting enough food maybe to eat.
It's just
we've got multimillionaires getting loans from the government. Fantastic.
To support their businesses, which
don't need support.
Exactly. And personally, I think if you have that kind of money, you can inject that capital yourself.
Absolutely.
So, you know,
these people have no morals.
No. But this is the thing. Okay, I'm just gonna like one thing that like struck me time and time again in this documentary that I watched.
What is it called? Capital.
Capital. Okay. It's on Netflix. One of the things that came out time and time again though, and it's like they've proven it with studies, they've done like simulations and random games, all kinds of stuff, is there's this whole idea and philosophy that wealth will trickle down. Never fucking happens. Will never happen. These people, again, you can see it. This is just, again, highlights and emphasizes that these certain individuals, as soon as there's any kind of benefit or programs that they can milk the government from, they will do it. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean that that's necessarily even going to trickle down into their business. It might just be for whatever reason. But do you know what I mean? Like, I just...
oh God, it's true. Yeah, trickle down economics is a made up concept.
It's flawed. That whole concept is flawed. And again,
it's not real.
Exactly. If you've had something proven time and time again, centuries and centuries and centuries of this kind of inequality of like wealth and stuff, you'll just see like it's just a non-argument.
Did you learn about that in economics?
The trickle down effect.
Trickle down, right?
I don't remember learning about it specifically, but I seem to remember them saying about one of the teachings was like, if the government provides, tax relief for high net worth individuals and businesses, then, it's better for the economy because then it creates more jobs and it does X, Y, Z. And it's like, well, no, it doesn't. Just puts more money in those people's pockets.
Seriously.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. I think they taught us trickle down economics and economics.
I'm pretty sure they did. Like, it's a theory. It is a theory.
Yeah, they need to stop teaching that shit.
Yeah, that needs to be thrown out of the goddamn curriculum. Okay.
Yeah.
God
All
damn.
right. What's the next story?
So the next story, guys, and this was a little thing that just popped up in my YouTube algorithm, actually.
Oh God.
My algorithm.
The social dilemma.
My algorithm be getting weird as hell.
Oh
let me tell
God,
you.
what you be watching,
Daniel?
Daniel?
You don't want to know.
Okay, tell me.
I'm just kidding. So basically, this documentary came up, and I'm not sure if any of you guys have watched it. I don't know what the actual title, but it's basically the truth about Paris Hilton. So I guess Paris must have produced or whatever. It's on her actual YouTube channel,
right?
And
I think YouTube is pushing this quite hard.
Yeah, I've seen. I think it's been on a lot of people's algorithms probably. I think it's like about an hour and 40 minutes or something. And basically, it's actually a pretty eye-opening documentary. I think in many ways, some of the stuff that she talks about, we kind of knew already. So like, one of the key things not key things. One of the things she mentioned is, that whole persona that Paris has built up, this whole like ditzy blonde girl. It's all fake. Like,
okay,
she filmed that like what's that series, Simple Life with Nicole Richie and stuff, and that voice that she does, everything, it was all made up.
It was all fake.
Yeah, like when you hear her talk in the documentary. Yeah. I mean, I've heard her talk in interviews and stuff before, and
I can't tell which one of her is real because like I've seen a few of her like YouTube videos and like. Yeah, her voice like will just randomly change or like anyway.
She does a lot of stuff where I think partly she talked about this in the documentary as well, because she built this persona for herself.
Right.
She also feels like in many ways she has to always be doing that persona.
Okay.
So then she kind of struggles with identity and whatever else. But basically, one of the most controversial things that happened in this documentary, Paris opens up about basically being not sexually, but physically and emotionally abused at a boarding school. So the backstory to this is I think when she was like 15, 16, her parents had moved to New She was she was a socialite, obviously very wealthy, started partying a lot, getting into trouble, got a fake ID. Her parents are like, you're out of control. Like, this needs to stop. So they started putting her in boarding schools, and the first couple like were fine. Like, nothing that bad, I don't think, happened to her. But she would always like break out of them and like, run away and do all this stuff. She was a bit crazy. But then her parents were like, okay, they'd had enough, right? And I guess they had called this one boarding school where they sent people into her room in the middle of the night to get her. And they like took her out of her room in the middle of the night. So just imagine you're at home.
That's so fucked up.
I know, it's really weird. And imagine.
So the parents kind of knew that this was a little bit fucked up.
Well, they probably knew they must have known that it was like an extreme boarding school.
Right?
Because what
parent would approve people to go into your kid's room in the middle of the night and kidnap her?
Basically. And that's what she said felt like happened.
It basically is kidnapping.
Yeah. So just imagine you're peacefully in bed. First of all, when you wake up, you're disorientated anyway.
Yeah.
So imagine how scary it would be.
That alone is traumatizing.
Oh my God, hugely.
Yes.
Like, if that happened to anyone, you would just be like, oh my God, like, this is actually like so fucked up. Like,
okay, so her parents signed her up for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they must have known that this was like some kind of extreme thing, but they probably didn't know quite to the extent.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's what happens. First, she gets taken out of her room in the middle of the night, and she's like freaking out. Obviously, she thinks she's being kidnapped, which she would. Yeah. She was like screaming and stuff, and then she said she looked up and she could like see her parents crying at the end of the hall. So she was like, she was like, oh well, my parents know that these people are taking me. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. It was crazy.
How do you have a normal relationship with your parents after that? Do they have a good relationship?
It seemed like she was okay when she was like talking to her mom in the documentary, but I think that it's probably...
Oh, so her mom's in the documentary.
Yeah, her mom's in there too. But I think it's a bit strained, to be honest.
I mean, I don't think...
She said that she's never trusted her parents again, obviously.
I mean, I don't think I would. Because like at that age, especially, you're like, what, 15, 16?
Yeah.
It's like, you're still a kid. So... Yeah. Your parents are the ones that are supposed to still protect you at that time. Mm-hmm. So for them to like allow strangers to come into your room and like
take you out of your bed.
Oh God.
It's so weird because it's just like, it is like, I don't know. It's like next level. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like,
that's crazy.
Like it's just insane. So anyway, they took her out of her bed and they brought her to this place called Provo Canyon School in Utah.
Okay.
And then during her time there, so she was only there for I think 11 months. her and there was a bunch of other girls, like a girls' boarding school, I think.
Right.
And basically during that time, she said that she was constantly beat. They would constantly be yelling at her, really, really rude, disrespectful. Like, and then also there's a few times where they were supposed to take, I guess they had prescribed pills or something to these girls that were there.
Oh my
gosh.
And
then I guess Paris was pretending to have these pills and then she wouldn't actually have them.
Right.
And then
do we know what kind of pills they were?
I don't think it's specified in the documentary.
Oh,
so
okay.
Maybe it did, but I don't remember that part.
So she didn't want to take the pills.
Yeah. She was like pretending to swallow them and wasn't.
Okay.
And then apparently they found them in her napkin or something that she'd spit them out. And they decided to put her into solitary confinement, absolutely butt naked, and left her in solitary confinement for like, I don't know how long, like a couple hours, like a while.
Okay.
So
like a day?
I think maybe. I don't remember the exact time, but it was
God.
a while. And, she said the only thing that kept her going is like thinking about, what she wanted to do when she was out of there, I guess.
Right.
And one of the key things is she was like, she mentioned this in the documentary many times. I think, and I said this to you before, I think watching this documentary and seeing Paris's life also made me feel really sad for her. You know what I mean? Like she hasn't had a great life, even though you would see her and think, oh, she's this like multi-millionaire. Mm-hmm. She has everything she wants. But one of the things she said to herself is she wanted to make enough money on her own so that she would never her parents would never have control over her again.
Oh,
so that's why she's been hustling so much and like
right.
been so like working so hard.
Right.
To build up her own brand and everything else, because in her mind, she's always like, I want to make another million. I need to make another million. So, just so that she is out of that, she has that like in her head.
Right. Right. So she's not living under her parents' like money.
Exactly.
Oh God.
Like it's actually crazy. Like I was shocked.
Yeah. And she's like what? She's like 40-ish now?
Almost 40.
Almost
yeah.
40.
Yeah. I think maybe she is 40. I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe. Like I think so. Mm-hmm. Around that age.
But
this is why you can't look at these people, celebrities, like rich people, and just assume that, their life is so fantastic and amazing just because they have a lot of money.
Exactly.
Because they might have their own traumas like this. And I'm sorry, I would rather have lived my life than, have millions of dollars, but have gone through that kind of shit.
Exactly. And it was crazy too, because as in part of the documentary as well, at the end, she's reunited with a bunch of the girls that she had shared the room with when she was at that boarding school, and they've started this campaign called Break Code Silence, and it's a bunch of them, and they all like started revealing their stories and stuff.
I'm shocked that it took this long, for them to like come out and say it.
I think because when stuff like this happens, though, is you get so traumatized. And scarred that you feel almost ashamed,
right,
and nervous to bring it up. Especially I think for her, because she's in the limelight as well.
Oh God.
I think and she had built this like kind of brand of being this ditzy girl, and
right.
And this is basically against her brand. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like very like dark, and it's like very twisted what happened to her, and it kind of breaks the kind of princess vibe that she was like going for.
Oh God.
So, but
like I would want to get revenge on this school. Like
yeah, well,
I mean, obviously I don't understand the mentality of going through something like this.
Yeah.
So. I mean, fair enough. Yeah, that's crazy.
She said she's like scarred for life. Like she has issues sleeping. She has anxiety because when she goes to bed, she sometimes gets these like nightmares about being obviously taken out of her bed.
Oh my God.
Like, and after that happens, you would have trouble. Like it would impact you in so many ways. And
so how does she leave? Did they take her out? Like
I think that she just like finished. I think that when she turned 18, she left.
So how old was she, Daniel? She was there for 11 months.
Yeah. So I think
the timeline is not matching up, Daniel.
No. I said. No, she's
you and your timeline.
No, when she was like 15, 16, she started getting taken to boarding schools. I think she came to this one.
I thought you said she was
like,
taken when she was 15 or 16.
No, so I think she was like 17.
Okay.
But still young.
Still young.
So it's a couple of years older, but still.
Oh God, I never want to take my kids to boarding school.
I know. I think.
And it must have been so expensive because her parents are fucking rich, right?
Yeah, they're the Hilton.
Yeah,
hotels.
the Hilton hotels.
Yeah.
So like it must have been so expensive.
Yeah. Well, and apparently there's a lot of other celebrity people that were there, like celebrities' kids and stuff, and a lot of them haven't come out yet and stuff. And she obviously didn't say any names because she was like, I think there was like other people.
Do you know anybody else that came out and like shared?
Not recently.
Okay. Oh shit.
But yeah, it was crazy, and I just think, yeah, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors with these celebrities and stuff, and it's like,
I wonder if they told the parents. Do you think the parents knew?
her parents, she told her mom on this documentary. Well, her I think she told her mom part of it, and then she opened up more to her mom on this documentary.
And then what did her mom?
Her mom seemed shocked. Like her mom was like, well, if I would have known how bad it was for you there, I would have taken you out right away.
Well, maybe you should have thought about that when the protocol was to kidnap someone in the middle of the night.
I know, that's you would think, yeah, as a parent, like that kind of extreme. But again,
this is why there should be a manual for parenting. Like some of the most common sense things, you're just like, how are you so unaware?
Yeah. But I guess, and again, I'm not justifying this at all, but like Paris had been putting her parents through a lot during that time, like breaking out of boarding schools. She was going crazy, partying, drinking, doing all this stuff at underage, right? So her parents were probably like, she's a wild child. She's out of control. This is the only way that we can get her to this boarding school. We have to just kidnap her in the night and God, and just take her away.
Why was she such a wild child, do you think? Did they uncover that?
Not really, I don't think. I think a big part of it is just growing up in that kind of wealth and that kind of like
that's
privilege.
What I was going to say.
So I think when that happens, you lose taste, lose sense of reality. And you just kind of think you can do whatever you want. Yeah. And she's
probably been given like all this money and like, what are you supposed to do with that money when you're that young?
Exactly. So I think, she had this kind of,
like fuck life mentality.
Exactly.
Like, fuck
just like
this,
whatever,
don't care.
Well, and they do say, and I don't know if this is necessarily her case, but they say with a lot of kids that grow up with like super successful parents that are like billionaires and stuff. Yeah. They a lot of the time get demotivated.
Absolutely.
Because they think to themselves, well, look at what my parents have accomplished. Like I'm never ever gonna do anything like that. What's the point? Do you know what I mean? So you see time and time again, like a lot of these people that are multimillionaires, their kids have a lot of issues. Yeah. Totally. Because they've been either given a lot of money or privilege and stuff. And it does mess with you.
It would totally mess with you. I remember reading some kind of essay or something in philosophy class, and it was something about that where someone was like a child of like a very rich, parents. And I mean, obviously everyone has issues, but one of the issues that comes from having very rich parents is exactly that. It's like you can't win basically because if you achieve something in life, people will think you've achieved it because you have rich parents. Yeah. So if you become successful, everyone's going to think it's because, I mean, it is partially, like, let's be honest, right? Yeah. It's not like they grew up on the street. Yeah. So of course you have to attribute that to, at least part of it, to having rich parents. But then if you don't achieve anything, then it's like, oh, you're a failure when your parents are this rich.
And they're so successful. Like, why aren't you?
Exactly. So it's like you can't meet up. So it's very hard to feel accomplished or successful. And then also giving a bunch of kids a lot of money is never a good idea. So that's another thing.
That's a very good point, though. You're right. It's like a double-edged sword in the sense that, like, either way, either side that you go, like, you're never going to win. Like, exactly. You could be super, super successful, even more successful than your parents. Yeah. And someone's going to be like, well, you got there because of your parents. And
which is partially true.
Yeah, true.
But like, I mean, it would be hard to teach them kind of like it, even though it's true, it doesn't mean that you didn't, earn, what you did. Yeah. Because I don't know.
It's a tough one.
It's a tough one.
It's such a tough one. Like,
what are we going to do, Daniel, when we become multimillionaires, huh?
Damn, I ain't ever going to be a multimillionaire.
Don't say that.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll cross that bridge if I ever get
there.
Damn. And I think the only thing that you can do as a parent is try to teach your kids to like value money. And I think a big thing is just like, and I think this is like for anyone, is just not to give your kids like everything. Do you know what I mean?
Seriously,
like,
though,
if you spoil your kids rotten, they're going to turn out rotten. That's why that's where there's that expression, spoiling your kids rotten, because it like literally rots the kids.
like actually literally though, and like it wouldn't surprise me if that's what they did with Paris, which is why she went rebellious. Yeah. And because like, have you seen that show? It was on like Much Music or something. No, MTV.
It was a Sweet 16.
Yes. Oh my God. I don't know if you guys are like, if you guys have ever seen that show. It's like what, quite a long time ago.
Yeah, it was like 10.
It was like when we were probably like 16.
Yeah.
And they had the show called My Sweet 16th or My Super Sweet 16th or something. And it was literally a show about very rich or kids of very rich parents who were incredibly spoiled, and they would be looking forward to their 16th birthday party. And they were planning this party, and it was just the craziest, most extravagant thing in the world. And they were all like so spoiled and so entitled and so bratty. And then, but at the end, the parents would just give them everything they ever wanted.
My favorite part of that though is quite often like what they would always do. So like, let's say this kid's like, Mom, Dad, I want like a blue Lamborghini, blah blah blah, or let's just even say like a blue BMW or something. Maybe not even as crazy as a Lamborghini. And it comes time for their sweet 16, and then all of a sudden they have this beautiful like big wrapping present, and they open it up, and it's like a 3-year, like it's a used BMW, and then the kid's like, first of all, it's not blue, and secondly, it's not brand new. This is a used car. Like, it's at least 5 years old. Like, I can tell this is not brand new car, blah, 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 blah. And then the parents are like, just kidding. It's over there. There's your brand new car. And they're like, oh, thanks, Mom and Dad. And you're just like...
Did they actually do that?
Yeah,
on the
quite
show?
Often they would like trick their kids and get them like a old used car or something like this. And then the kid would have like a breakdown. And freak out and be like, why would you do this? Why would you get this for me? And the parents are like, well, we want you to drive something like, you just got your license and we want you to drive something
which sounds, reasonable enough.
Exactly. And then they'd just be like, it was crazy.
Then the parents are like, oh my God, what am I going to do with her? And I'm like, why do you think she is the way she is? I mean, I don't know how much of it is actually real and how much of it was acting. I feel like if we rewatched it, I'm sure we would pick up on like, oh, maybe this was like, exaggerated.
Like The Hills.
Exactly. Oh God. But you're just like, I remember watching that show being like, holy fuck. Yeah. Like, I do not want my kids like this ever. No. And then they had like a spinoff. Have you ever seen the spinoff?
No, I haven't seen the spinoff. What's the spinoff?
So they had I think this was totally fake. Yeah. They had a spinoff of that show, and it was, I can't remember what they called it, but they would take kids that were on that show. So like incredibly spoiled, very entitled children. And they would like bring them to some kind of like developing country or like middle, like, in a hut in Africa or something. And then they would have to live there for like a week or something like that to teach them the value of life or some shit, right? God. And because the parents, they would interview the parents, they'd be like, oh, I don't know what to do with my daughter. She's just so spoiled and like she just thinks she can get whatever they want. I'm like, why? You did this. What is wrong with you?
It's true though.
Like seriously. And then they would go and they'd be like, oh my God, like I don't know how I'm gonna live here. Anyways. So that was another part of that show.
Oh God damn, that'd be as intense as all hell. But this is it. At the end of the day, like even if I know it's really hard because obviously like a lot of people, they want to give their kids as much as they can and whatever else. But it's like I think it's really important. Like if you have that kind of money, just to teach your kids like obviously you're gonna go on nicer holidays and things like that, right? But like doesn't mean that you spoil your kids rotten where they're gonna be like behave like so badly.
Yeah. And they say, I can't remember the saying, but it's like wealth dies in 3 generations or something. It takes 3 generations to kill wealth. Yeah. And I mean, maybe not anymore because now, oh my God, sorry, my phone's going crazy. I know. Sorry if you guys can hear some, phone sounds. It's because I forgot to put my phone on silent. Anyways. It takes 3 generations to kill wealth. I think now it's a different story because now generational wealth, if you have generational wealth, they pass it down and then you invest. And as long as you have an investment manager, you're probably going to do fine. Yeah. But in times when things weren't so, I guess, how do I say it? In times when the rich poor gap wasn't so big, I think that it is true that if you, for example, if I'm really rich, then I pass down that to my kids and then that gets passed down. Eventually your kids, somewhere along that, they're not going to know how to build their wealth. They're not going to be as successful. This is why immigrants are quite successful, or kids of immigrant parents happen to be quite successful because they kind of work extra hard. Yeah. But then once those people have kids, they might spoil those kids. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, this is the thing. I think a part of it is because like, let's say if you did grow up, let's say you grew up, not poor, but like, you didn't really have much. I guess like more on the poor side. And then you became really, really wealthy. Yeah. You kind of, in some ways, you're like, I want my kids to not experience what I did.
Yes. Even though the things that you experienced is probably what made you wealthy to begin with.
Exactly. It's what shaped you into the person that you are. Exactly. So like you don't necessarily want your kids, but I think there's ways, because obviously if you're wealthy, like you think to yourself, oh, I don't want my kids to experience the same hardships that I did. Well, they're not going to. Yeah. Because like
they're never going to.
Exactly. Either way, like you're going to be able to go on like some nice bougie vacations because you want to go on them or whatever, and they're never going to worry about food or things like that. Exactly. But at the same time, it's like then you don't have to give them shitloads of money and like do all this other stuff. Like
they're already doing fine.
Exactly. So.
It's like when I hear people are so delusional because like I've heard people being like, how do I say? They'll be like, oh yeah, I know that I come from a certain level of privilege in that I didn't grow up really, really poor, but, you know, everything I did all on my own. And, you know, I was living on, you know, I had only this much money and I wasn't making much money at all. And I built this. I'm like, but the fact that you grew up without being poor, like with your family not being poor, that itself is the privilege. Like, how do you not understand this?
Exactly.
Because some people are just so delusional. They just think like, oh, I just built all this on my own. You did technically, but would you and could you have built it if you were in a position like you were homeless or your parents didn't give you a good education? You know, there's so many other factors. It's like, why is it hard to admit that? Yeah. Because like I can admit it.
It's interesting. It's interesting because like when they were doing this study in that documentary again.
The Monopoly study. Tell them again.
Yeah. So basically this Monopoly study, like long story short, I'm not going to go into detail because it's in another episode of the podcast anyway. But basically people were given an unfair advantage in this game. And at the end of the game, they interviewed them and every single person didn't attribute them to winning the game to having this unfair advantage in the beginning. So it's interesting, like in the beginning, there's no way that they would have necessarily won. They wouldn't have won the game that easily had they not had this privilege. This just made them. And they said like, this is what happens is like quite often people that come from wealth or have wealth, they just attribute it and they think, well, you know, they think wrongly that they're like better than other people, that they've even if they've inherited it, they've earned that money.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's that kind of like psychology that goes along with it.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. That says like just because, and it's so weird, this concept of just because somebody isn't earning as much money as you or is, you know, more poor than you, doesn't mean that you're a better person than them or that they're less of a person than you.
Or that necessarily that you're even working any harder than them.
Oh, this is my, Rose, you hit the like, this is one comment like, and again, I have no issue with people being successful and running good businesses and stuff. But what really bothers me is those people out there that say, oh, you know, all you have to do is work hard. You work harder, work so much harder, and you'll get there. Do you know what I mean? Like you will get into that level, that millions or whatever. And it's like, well, that's actually not the case. And a lot of these people that are multi-millionaires, a lot of them are just sitting on lots of assets that are making them money and not actually working that hard, to be honest. Like you see these people that, especially if they have like massive property holdings and investments and everything else, they're not working every day. Well, some of them are, but like a lot of them aren't.
Exactly.
And it doesn't
like
mean that they work.
We're pretending that investments are not a thing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do rich people actually get rich? Investing.
Exactly.
That doesn't require that much like actual work. It just requires that you have an investment manager and you have a lot of money to begin with. Exactly. And then wealth builds more wealth. So you're just going to be rich just because of the fact that you're already rich.
Yeah. But I think so many people like misconstrue that and they think, oh, well, you know, you just work hard. Those people that are, you know, and at the end of the day, I always think to myself, and I always tell people this as well. It's like literally there are 24 hours in the day. Yeah. You can't turn around and tell me that this person at this company, because they're earning 4 times my salary, that they're working 4 times as hard as me. It doesn't work like that. Yeah. You know, we're probably both working similar. Maybe they work a few more hours than me a day. Yeah. That does not equate to 4 times my salary. I know. You know, it's crazy. It's just mental. It's mental. It's crazy.
All right. God so that's that was that. The truth. I forgot why we started talking about
the truth about Paris.
Yes, the Paris. So I think you need to watch that documentary.
You should. I mean,
God damn.
Yeah. There's parts of it that are a little bit boring, but like, you know, and there's parts of it that you'll probably watch it and you'll be like, yeah, I kind of know whatever, you know. But the thing with Paris, like, I just feel really bad for her. Yeah. Like the whole thing that's happened. Obviously, you know, there's like, even she just commented in this. She works really, really hard as well. And she said like right now, the way that her life is and the way that it's been for the last kind of 20 years is she has been basically traveling like nonstop. She said that she has like in a year, she's like 250 something days of the year. She's like traveling. And like
is it to forget things or is
it's to promote the brand, her brand, like makeup launches and perfume launches and everything else all over the world.
So she's like a workaholic basically.
Yeah. And I think she throws herself into work probably to like not
forget. Yeah.
Exactly. She said she's always in different hotels, like all this stuff. And then the thing that got me, it was this other documentary that I watched with her, but she also talked about it in this one, is about how she said sometimes that her fans are her friends. That's and so there's these 2 fans that like traveled. I think she had a thing in Korea or something. No, I don't know if it's Korea or Japan or something. And her fans like had flown from another city to see her at this like launch.
Oh my God.
And she was like, oh my God, these 2 are my 2 special friends, blah, 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 blah. And then I think she hung out with them after and I don't know.
So she doesn't actually have real friends,
but this is the thing. Because I'm not saying that a fan couldn't become a real friend. But at the same time, like.
But it is weird because it's not a real, I mean, you're right. There can be cases when you can become friends with your fans.
Exactly.
But in her case, I think it's just like she doesn't have other friends and
No,
she
this
doesn't
is
know how
it.
to interact.
She doesn't seem to have those kind of like
real connections.
those connections that you build. You know what I mean? So then that part to me, because I think about my life and like my friends that I have, and if I didn't have that like social
That's
network,
crazy.
it's so sad.
I know.
Yeah.
And then if you think about it also, it's like if your fans are your friends, it's like such a one-way kind of relationship. Like you don't really know your, fans, but they know you.
Yeah.
And they like, it's not a normal friendship because they're like really, they're admiring you. They think you're this like whatever,
They put you up on a certain pedestal. Yeah.
So you're not going to have the same kind of, connection and
interaction.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's really, really sad. Like,
this is why being rich isn't everything, guys.
Exactly. So the more people that understand that and follow that and live through that, it's a good thing. All right. And so
our final story
is
more drama about rich people.
Oh God. Yeah. Well, in this particular individual, Kanye West,
he's an interesting character.
He is. And like, I
do you love his music?
I like some of his songs. Yeah. I like a few of them. I'm not like such a big Kanye fan.
Yeah. Me neither.
I think like a lot of his behavior and antics like really take away from
his music.
Yeah. And also it just makes me like not like him. Like I just don't like him in general. But at the same time, like, I mean, he has opened up and apparently he has bipolar disorder.
Yes.
So I think that knowing that now, maybe I'll be a little bit more lenient on him. But in the same time, like, I think there's people out there that are bipolar that, are able to function in society and, whatever else.
Maybe it's bipolar plus being so rich and so famous.
Yeah.
And again, that could be a disaster.
Exactly. Because then it builds your ego.
Yes. And he probably also has a lot of childhood trauma. I'm not sure. Like his dad left, I'm pretty sure, or something.
He had a pretty rough, upbringing.
I'm sure he had a rough upbringing, which also adds.
Didn't he get his like, I could be wrong on this, guy, so I do apologize, but I seem to remember like a long time ago, something shattered his jaw.
Did he get shot or something?
I think so. And then he had like reconstructive surgery on his, that's why his like mouth is a little bit like, kind of.
I think so. You might be right.
But anyway, I think guys, maybe comment if you know. But yeah, he had something happened. So anyway,
right.
So the reason that we're talking about Kanye, and this kind of happened a little while ago. I think it was like maybe a week ago or so. Kanye apparently has been having some issues with his recording company. Now, I don't know the full ins and outs of what's going on, but apparently it has something to do with the rights of his music. I think they're called the masters or whatever it is. And he got really, really frustrated. And he apparently, first of all, he published on either Twitter or I think it was Twitter, his contract that he has with the record label.
Isn't that also like, don't they have some kind of NDA or something?
Of course. That's 100%
crazy.
Illegal.
Okay.
Like they're not allowed to share this information. This is confidential documents. Right. Every single contract, like generally employment contracts, all that kind of stuff.
Is it just implied that it's confidential?
Yeah. Well, I know. I think there's probably a clause in there somewhere.
Okay. Confidentiality clause. Yes.
Definitely. And I guarantee for record artists, there'd be an NDA.
Oh God.
Because they probably wouldn't want record artists also or talking with each other and showing contracts. Anyway, so he basically said, I need every lawyer in the world to look at these. He told his followers while referring to the music industry as modern day slavery. So he's like implying that these
he's a slave.
Yeah. That record companies, again, it's a bit delusional in a sense.
He's very delusional.
Yeah.
He's not living in reality.
Because I get what he's saying in some ways where he's like, the record labels are making a lot of money off of him, right?
Sure.
But he's also making a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense. Like for example, I know in K-pop, in Korean music, it's literal probably modern day slavery.
Yeah.
Because I think they actually don't make much money, like the K-pop artists.
Yeah.
And, they actually call them like slave contracts.
Yeah.
So the companies make so much money off of them.
Yeah.
But I don't think that artists actually make money. But when it comes to like in the States and with Kanye, I mean, he is so fucking rich.
I know.
Are you kidding me?
He's made a lot of money.
So it's like, I mean, I understand if you think that you deserve more, like get it, fantastic. But to call it modern day slavery when you are literally one of the richest people in fucking America.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
I know, this is the thing. This is where it's again, this rich entitled people that are, and
delusional.
Exactly. A little bit delusional. And I get it. Like maybe he feels like he wants to have, I don't know the whole ins and outs of having the rights to your music and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you can't necessarily quote this as modern day slavery because, if you're a slave, it's implied that you're not getting paid very much or very little. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like it would be different if Kanye was like going to the food bank and freaking, really struggling. then and obviously he has sold so many albums and stuff, then I'd be like, okay, actually he has a point there. But he's a fucking multimillionaire. So is that modern day slavery? I don't think so. Is he having an issue with his record label and maybe wants to have more rights over his music? Yes, that could be a legitimate possibility. And, I don't blame him for that. Maybe he wants like reoccurring royalty rights or something, which is maybe for his kids or whatever else for like generations to come, that while they still play his music, then fine. But don't call it modern day slavery. I'm sorry, because there's people in way worse off conditions than you that are probably seeing this being like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Who are you to complain? Like, I get it. Again, yeah, fair enough. Maybe work it out with your lawyers. Don't you have fucking lawyers? Like, this is why I can't take anything he does seriously. He's so like, but again, like if he has bipolar disorder, I don't want to be, I want to be understanding of the fact that he obviously has some sort of a mental illness. Like when he was trying to run for president. And he was acting very strange. And I'm pretty sure he's made comments about, I am sure he's made comments. I don't know when, maybe it was a few years ago, where he was basically like saying how black people are, black people in America are, how did he say it? Like they're choosing to feel like oppressed or something like that. What? And he said something crazy. Like he said, like 400 years of slavery. That sounds like a choice. He said that.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
This shit's like,
you're so delusional. And now you're saying you are in a modern day slavery contract? Are you joking?
Well,
maybe that's a choice.
I was just about to say we should use his logic against him in that sense and say, actually, Kanye, modern day slavery in your contract, that sounds like a choice.
But again,
you signed that contract.
We can't assume that he's thinking logically.
No, I know exactly. So I do think that obviously, apparently, he's going through a manic episode. It's called or whatever, where he's like basically. So he posted this shit on so much stuff on Twitter. So he did his contract where he's like saying, music industry is modern day slavery. Then also he posted a video a little bit after this with I guess he's won some Grammys and you get like little Grammy awards. He had put one of his Grammy awards in a toilet and there's a video, not like showing private parts or anything, but it shows somebody urinating onto this Grammy award. There's speculation that it's him or somebody else, but somebody's urinating on this award to take taking aim or a stance against the wider music industry. And then in addition, as if this Twitter rant wasn't enough, he also posted the phone number, which this is that's
illegal, man.
Yeah.
That's so fucking illegal.
He posted the phone number of a Forbes editor. So I don't know how high up this editor was, but like probably a senior editor, and basically called him a white supremacist.
See, if I were on Kanye's team or if I were his family member, I would take away his phone or like get rid of the Twitter account.
Yeah, like where is his team?
Where is his team? It's like Britney all over again.
Oh my god, it is. It's like that these people have a PR team. They have all these people working for them.
So much money.
It's like what is your team doing?
Yeah, and like, don't they have like medication for bipolar disorder?
I think so.
Is he on medication? Does it help? Like, I don't. Oh god,
I just don't understand. And apparently, so basically, after all of this happened, these things, because obviously some of the stuff he's doing on Twitter is illegal. So the Twitter people, the Twitter company, the Twitter people, they basically locked his account.
Oh my god!
For I think 12 or 24 hours, just so that he couldn't like post anything else. Right. I think they probably took down some of the posts. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah. But again, they had to take action because probably there was like people complaining. And
I mean, if he's giving away someone's phone number.
Well, and I imagine actually that this could result in many lawsuits for him.
Oh god!
Because like probably his record label is going to sue him, and also the Forbes editor will definitely sue him.
Oh god!
So he's and this is again, if his team knows that he has bipolar disorder, like there should be some controls. Like maybe, and this sounds like really bad, but maybe he shouldn't be able to like access Twitter from his phone. Like maybe it should be that he can tweet, but it has to be in a room with other people like verifying his tweet, but
I mean, he's his own person, so I'm sure that I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe you can have that level of control, but maybe they could do things, like for example, if you had a team, like your team could be like, if you post a tweet, it has to be verified by someone else. Like it has to have that check and balance. So like his team could post a tweet, and if Kanye didn't like it, he could reject it. Yeah. And then also if Kanye posts a tweet and his team didn't like it, they could reject it.
That's why, you like celebrities with social media is such a weird thing because you find out that they are also just as fucked up as other humans.
They'd just be as hot messes as everyone else.
But now everyone can see all the all the shit you put out there.
So this is what I think it's in some ways it's interesting because it does start to chip down that kind of kind of godlike status of celebrities.
Totally,
you start to you start to realize that these people, they aren't, because you're right, because people put a lot of celebrities on this like, you know, pedestal, and it's like, well, they're not that different than us. They are people. We're all people at the end of the day. And yeah, I guess Kanye really needs to get some help, I guess, and he needs his team to be, like, you need to get a good team around you, right? So
yeah,
and I think that's an issue with a lot of these celebrities is they just like, I don't know, maybe they don't vet their team properly or whatever.
Well, I mean, like I said, unless you tell your team, hi, you have control over my Twitter account.
Yeah.
And you can't let me, because I don't think he realizes how like delusional he is, or maybe he doesn't even realize when he's having, you know, these manic episodes. Yeah. Right? So I'm sure that like, so you would have to be the first one to be like, hi, you are my team. Please make sure that I don't post anything, you know, crazy or stupid or anything like that. That is your job. So unless he does that, it's fair game. It's his Twitter account. It's his phone. He can post whatever he wants. Yeah. But yeah, I think if I were, you know, maybe his family, maybe you might want to be like, hello, Kanye.
Maybe don't do that.
Maybe don't post anything that you think, you know, anything that you want on Twitter.
It's interesting because like he's commenting that he wants, I guess, these rights and masters for his tracks or whatever they're called. Right. Just probably for, you know, revenue down the line. But then by him posting all of this stuff, he's like leading himself into legal battles.
Yeah. Oh God.
That's going to impact his net wealth.
Yeah.
His net worth and everything. So I don't know. And then to top this all off, apparently, and this is gossip, guys. This is like, I have no actual...
We've become a celebrity gossip podcast.
The Twitter stuff, everyone saw that. That was posted on Twitter, you know, whatever. But apparently, according to a source...
There's always
a source.
Tells us.
Yeah. That I guess Kim she's kind of planned out a divorce and she's got everything in line, but she's thinking of potentially divorcing him. I don't know. I mean,
we'll see about that.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, this isn't the first time Kanye's done some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Stuff.
So yeah, I don't know. I just think, again, where are your friends and family? Like, you know what I mean? Like the people that care about you.
See, money don't buy you everything.
Money don't buy you happiness.
It's true. I'm trying to imagine what it's like to be bipolar and have like this manic episode. Yeah. I watched there was a show, it was on Amazon Prime. I think it was called Modern Love or something like that. And like each episode, there was like maybe 8 episodes, and each episode was like a different like love story. And one of them was with Anne Hathaway and somebody else. And it was her and she had bipolar disorder. So in the beginning, you don't know that she has bipolar disorder. Yeah. So in the beginning, she comes out and she's like having such a great day. She's like in this grocery store, like dressed like beautifully, and she looks amazing, and she's like walking around like smelling everything. She's like so happy and amazed, and she meets this guy, and they like end up having like an amazing time. Like they went out for lunch or something, have an amazing time, and then he's like, oh, let's go out again, blah blah blah. And then like the day that they're supposed to go out, she, I guess, goes like has the is it depressive or manic versus
so manic is, I think,
is like when you're at the high.
No, I think it's when you're at the low.
No, manic is when you're at high. I'm pretty sure.
And then the depressive is
like when you're low.
Okay,
I think.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, so correct me if I'm wrong. Because manic is when you're like kind of, you know, and then she started having like her kind of low episode. Yeah. And then she basically just like doesn't want to do anything and just feels like shit, and she can't explain why. Like it's like no. Like that's crazy.
I know. It's because again, at the end of the day, like our bodies, it's so crazy when you think about it. It's like all of our emotions and stuff, it's all like chemical kind of reactions in our brains. So like it is very like if you have any kind of issues or things, not even issues, but your brain is not functioning properly, you're not releasing the correct you know, chemicals and all this stuff, it will impact you so much. And it's just crazy. Like it could happen to anyone.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Like that'd be great. So she, I guess what happens when you have maybe she had an extreme form as well. I'm sure like depending on, you know, yourself, there's a different level. Yeah. But yeah, when she would be at work, and I think it's based on a true story. Yeah. So when she's at work and she's like very, very, she's in her manic. Is it manic? Sorry guys. Anyway, when she's on the high, then she's like so good and she's on it.
But almost
she's
too
like,
much though. Yeah, like over the
almost
top.
too much. Yeah. Over the top, doesn't sleep, like blah. Yeah. And then when she's on the low, it's like literal complete opposite. Yeah. That is so hard to manage.
Oh god. Well, that's why I think the medication that they can take is like to regulate their emotion.
Exactly.
It like does something where it like tries
to
regulates
manage that.
It.
Yeah. So then I think eventually she started taking the medication and then she got a lot better. Oh god damn. So yeah, Kanye, take your medications, dude.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just
Anyways, the dude, he needs to have a sit down with his team and his family.
Yeah.
Sort some shit out in the privacy of your home.
Yeah.
And this is why being in the public eye, not so great sometimes, you know?
It's crazy as hell.
Anyways, guys.
That concludes our lovely fun-filled episode again.
Yes.
So hope you enjoyed. If you are listening and on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Check us out on Instagram at the SaVeg Podcast. Or tune into whatever platform you're listening to your podcast on.
Yes. And don't forget, guys, we are on Patreon, patreon.com/The SaVeg Podcast if you want extra episodes every single month and also each episode a week earlier than everybody else. Yep. Again, link is in the show notes or the YouTube description box.
Exactly.
And we're about to record our Patreon exclusive.
We are.
What are we talking about in our Patreon exclusive?
We're talking about love. We're talking about being in a matchmaking situation.
We'd be talking about Indian matchmaking.
That's right.
We're going to talk about the Netflix series Indian matchmaking.
That's so true. So if you want to see that episode and more, check out our Patreon.
Yes, patreon.com/The SaVeg Podcast. Thank you so much for listening, guys.
Thanks, guys.
We will see you next time.
Bye.